Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is Monday, November 22nd, 2021, and we are in Thanksgiving week. And I've said this for some years, but, for me, every day is a day of Thanksgiving. That was a song we used to sing growing up. But do me a favor while I'm doing it. You do it as well. Do me a favor and hit that share button and invite others to be a part of the Java Cafe and the Java fam this morning. And while you're doing that, we're just going to go to a little quick introductory commercial, and we will be right back with you. Just a little quick commercial to let you guys know what's percolating in the Java Cafe. And speaking of percolating, listen, last weekend was ridiculous. We went viral in reference to, and we want to say congratulations here, but to Shagun Idawu, who is the new appointee of Mayor Michelle Wu as the Chief of Economic Development in the city of Boston. And speaking of percolating, like that tweet went, when I tell you viral, the last time I looked, it had about 170 some odd thousand impressions. It was viewed about 26,000 times. So we're definitely percolating here in the Java Cafe. There is a lot coming up and going on, but it's Mental Health Mondays. And so let's go in the comments and check in. Dr. Brandy Brooks is going to join us in just a few moments. Let me make sure that she is all set. Let's go in and check in and see who is in here this morning. Props, good morning. Good to see you in the room. I know you saw a couple of aesthetic things in that commercial. I rushed. Will, good morning. Good to see you in the room, brother. Good to see you. Sharon Cornelius. Good morning. Good to see you in the room. Daryl, our friend and Java fam all the way from Tennessee. Good to see you in the room, brother. Ma, good morning. Mama Java, good to see you in the room. Don't forget, if you guys are coming Saturday, you will get to meet Mama Java face-to-face this Saturday morning at 11 a.m. I believe she's going to be there. Ma, are you coming? Pastor Marion, good to see you in the room this morning. Good to see you. Sister Debbie, good to see you in the room as well. Good to see you. Rena Francis, good to see you in the room this morning. Intentional self-care, good to see you in the room. Tasha, good morning. Good to see you in the room as well. I may have it, but please email me the flyer so I can put that up for December 12th. Tasha Carrington is sponsoring a healing service that's taking place on Sunday, December 12th. More information is coming forward about that. Nikki, good morning. Good to see you in the room as well. Sister, good to see you in the room. And my brother, good to see you in the room as well. Good to see you. Heidi, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Awesome that you're feeling refreshed today. Don't forget, you guys, that we are looking for you to describe your mental health status by using one word in the comments. And so while you're saying good morning this morning, don't forget to describe yourself. Describe your mental health status this morning. And Sharon Cornelius is letting us know, missed you, James Hills at Jubilee with the Elizabeth Warren. They didn't call. I didn't know she was going. No, I'm messing. Good that she was in church. I love to hear her talk in church, and she talks about her Sunday school teaching. And then did she bring her Bible this time? She always brings her Bible with her. Quincy is saying, dear kid. Good morning, Brother Quincy. You chose violence this morning, huh? No, Quincy, I actually looked yesterday and did not see a lot over in the Upham's Corner area. And so I've noticed a couple. So candidates, please go get your signs because they are a eyesore. The winters here are coming and just them bent up and all of that. Candidates, please go get your signs. Let's see who else is in the room this morning. Kelly, good to see you in the room this morning. Good to see you. Also, Jen is in the room. Jen, good morning. Good to see you. Prop said this is his mental health status right now. Y'all say good morning to Props. Nariki, beautiful. Good morning. Good to see you in the room. Good to see you. All right, we're caught up with the comments. Don't forget, everyone, take a couple of seconds as Jen just did. She let us know. Kendra, one of my adopted daughters is in the room. Hi, KB. Good to see you in the room. KB, how you feeling this morning? Jen is letting us know that she feels relaxed. Rob is letting us know that he feels strong. Jen is reiterating what Quincy said in reference to get your signs. And so Dr. Brandy is going to join us in just a few minutes. Let me just make sure she's all set, Jesus. I don't see her. She said about 9:05. Let me just check my text. All right, there she goes, and actually 9:10, so she should be coming in a minute. Sharing is letting us know that she feels restored. KB is letting us know that she feels amazing. Come on, guys, drop those mental health statuses by using one word. If you were on Twitter, we don't see your comments here, I don't believe, but retweet. Drop one word, retweet this and drop one word with your mental health status today. Just wanted to reiterate some things that we mentioned in the commercial just a few minutes ago. Want to remind you and keep you also abreast, and I hope I have the right flyer, but let me actually just make sure I got the right one. There it is. And while that one is loading, and Dr. Brandy is on her way in the room, and we're going to talk about our mental health status. We're going to talk a little bit about the impact of the Rittenhouse verdict, and also considering the fact that we're going to be around a lot of people, presumably this week for Thanksgiving. Couple of things there. Medically speaking, COVID is still active. There is such a thing as breakthrough cases. Everybody hasn't got their booster shot. All the children haven't got their shots. And so while y'all going around grandma and auntie and them, be cognizant. But anyway, before we bring Dr. Brandy in, we just wanted to remind you that today, and Dr. Brandy actually used to do this with me in the afternoons, but I wanted to bring her into the mornings. And I think she said last week that she liked the mornings because there's a little bit more engagement there. But wanted to remind you that today at 1 p.m., you can get your midday Java on Spark FM Online by listening at www.sparkfmonline. And we are curating conversations around Black mental wealth every Monday at 1 p.m. with my guest, Naisha Deed from Your Pure Spark. I just thought it was kind of a nice branding opportunity to have Pure Spark be a part of the afternoons. And then we also have Jelani Lynch, Ambition from the City. And we're really talking about a mental health and mental wealth and Black wealth conversation. And so that's taking place this afternoon at 1 p.m. But let's go ahead and bring Dr. Brandy into the room, and we'll get back to our announcements in just a few moments. Dr. Brandy, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning. Good to see you. You are smiling. The last time I seen you on screen, I think you were kind of recuperating. You were just getting over a little bit of a cold. You tested. You didn't have COVID. And so how you doing this morning? How you doing?
You know, I am
Wait
awake.
a minute. Wait a minute. You know, Dr. Brandy, when she starts off with, it's going to
You
go
know,
one ways.
look, I'm awake this morning. James texted me this morning. He was like, you up? And I was like, I'm up, but I ain't awake. You
Listen.
know, so like I was up. I had the news on, but I
Oh,
hadn't really started my day yet.
mhm.
I'm getting a late start because today is a late day for me. I'm
Okay.
just work wise, and the rain didn't help because it's raining. It's like that song. I wanna. No, for me,
I
I
want to
wanna
go
stay.
outside
No, I say I wanna stay inside
in the rain.
in the rain. Hold on, let me do my
Mix.
yeah.
Did you hold your ear
Hold
like
on,
a preacher
hold
to
on.
make sure you was in the right
Let me
key?
yeah, let me hold my ear, close my eyes, and maybe it'll sound better.
Only the church folks know about that. Can you get me in my right key?
Okay,
He
yeah,
had
hold
you
on,
in the
hold
right
on,
key.
hold
He
on.
needs
Can I
you
get
to
a
get in the
G?
right
Can I
key.
get a G? Can I get a G, please? Can I get a G? P and that's not a G. That's not a G. Get on the right chord. Get
But
on.
they're in C though. They be in C. Dr. Brandy, don't start because we'll start about the little times that folks get up and sing and that was not their ministry. How
Ah.
did we get here this morning? Look, it's Mental Health Monday. That was just a black joy moment that we need to be intentional about, Sister Rena. But so how are you doing this morning from a mental health status? Text over the weekend. I want to apologize to everyone because Dr. Brandy and I are scheduled to come on every Friday. And I did send Toya a text, Brandy. We're scheduled to come on every Friday at 5 p.m. And y'all know Friday, there was 3 shows. I think Dr. Brandy, we decided at about 2 o'clock, we was just going to do it live at 5.
Yeah,
And
that
then
didn't happen.
and the sad part is I remember looking at the TV clock
Yeah.
and it was like 4:48. And I'm like, good,
Mhm.
I can sleep till 6 o'clock. And then I
Yeah.
woke up at 6 something and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
and there go her face. So I was
James,
okay.
James, all
Yes,
that sound like what had happened was like that sound, that sound like a precursor to what had happened was.
what had happened was I was exhausted. I didn't rest properly the night before. And it was
Mm,
just because I still get nervous here and there when certain people come on. And we had the superintendent. There were a lot of
okay.
texts and messages. And so Friday I was okay. But how would you describe your mental health status today based on what we talked about over the weekend on text? If you're not aware, folks, Rittenhouse was found not guilty. They're doing a documentary. He was in an interview on Fox, and it's just so interesting. So we talk about this often, but it's a reality for us, vicarious trauma. And we're also going to check in on a little, I won't say petty, but realistic for some people. Dr. Brandy talked about this before. Thanksgiving is Thursday. And some of y'all aunties and uncles and cousins and their bad kids that you want to tell them about have started to come into town this weekend. And so we're just going to have a real conversation about the mental health
Ooh,
impact of
ooh,
Rittenhouse.
ooh.
And also when we have to deal with family, truth, and I know it's morning, but truth of the matter is some of our family have not always protected us in a lot of ways. And so we're going to talk about all of it. But Dr. Brandy, how would you describe your mental health status today by using one word?
Awake.
Oh,
Yes.
I thought you said, oh, wait, because you saw something and it hit me. You said awake,
No, I said awake. Yes.
awake. And awake
Awake.
as far as with the
I'm
first
not
time,
woke, but I'm
okay,
awake right now.
awake. Okay.
Mhm.
And so in reference to what we talked about before, what was your some of the feeling, well, let me say my word first. I'm cool. I'm pretty good today. I don't
Mhm.
have too much of a heavy week. I got everything that I needed to get for Thursday except my chitlins. Anybody know where the chitlins are out there? Please put them in the comments. If you're going to get some, pick up 2 cleaned bags already and I clean them. Fix your face, Dr. Brandy.
Look, I'm from the South. I know about chitterlings, but they just don't be in my kitchen. My mama and auntie and them, yes, love them some chitlins and
Wait a minute.
yeah.
Hold on.
But maybe James, if I have some of your chitterlings, I
Mhm.
might I might like them, or at least gain an appreciation for them. As long as I don't have to cook and clean them, then yes. We
Wait a
go.
minute, y'all. Dr. Brandy, this is back in the day, but Lord Jeff's is where everybody used to go to get the red buckets. No, we've upgraded props. We don't do, some people do, we don't do the red buckets anymore. We do the cleaned, supposedly, and then we go clean them ourselves. But
Yeah.
anyway, let's get back. A lot's going on a lot
Mm,
happened at the end of last week. And then a lot is, can potentially, we want places of joy. We want to eat well. But you said awake. And so my word is cool, but let's talk a little bit about the verdict and the impact on us. I'll
mm,
start as a black man. Um, it at one point I wasn't confident that he would be convicted. And I'll be honest with you, Dr. Brandy, there is a generally speaking, from a humanity standpoint, he killed 2 people and maimed another, I believe. But there was a little less of a sting because he didn't kill black men. And I actually, can I be 100?
mhm,
Between Aubrey's case and the other cases that are going on, for a second, I conflated the
mhm,
cases because we
mhm,
had 2 cases going on and then so many brothers. And so, I was upset from the way the system goes. We heard what the president said. But it did kind of, because I put a post up that I was angry and then wanted to go out to Kenosha. And then that was in my time of conflating. And then it hit me that in all, life loss in those situations are definitely concerning for us, and it hurts a lot of people. But it was a little less of a sting because he did not, this time, Zimmerman type self did not kill a Trayvon type, brother. And so what were your thoughts? What were your expectations? Did you have any?
I'm gonna be honest. I ain't even watch it. I didn't even watch the verdict the day of, because I knew, and everybody else in the community knew what was up with that.
Mhm.
Um, it was set up from the beginning in terms of some of the decisions made by the judge early on, even with respect to, can we call the individuals whose lives were lost victims? Can they be called victims in the courtroom? But no, but instead they could be called something else. And so for me, it was not something I needed to watch in order for me to know what the verdict was going to be.
Mhm.
It's kind of similar to when I went to go watch Selma years ago when it came out. I remember some friends were like, "Oh, let's go as a group." And some in this group were non-melanated. And I was like, is that the best thing for me to do, to go see this movie about civil rights? And so I was like, nah, I ain't going as a group because I don't want to look at people with side eye,
Yep.
not for something they did, but something that happened in our history. And so I remember sitting in that theater. It was in the middle of the day. I took the day off from work, went to the theater, and I went to like a 12 o'clock showing on a like Wednesday. It was really unpacked. And literally from the moment of the opening credits, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything for anyone, but the opening credits where those 4 little girls were bombed. I mean, from that moment on, it was just emotional
It
for me.
set a tone.
Yeah, and so I know that I did the right thing in terms of going by myself. And so I know with the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, I did the right thing by not looking on Facebook, not watching CNN, because I got a notification saying, "Oh, the jurors are back." I said, "Oh, this about to be some foolishness," and phone notifications on. So for me, I knew what was up from jump, right? And and one of the things that's so sad about it is that it brings back the conversations of if this had been.
Mm. And
You,
then
you
and I posted that. Sorry.
is that, it always brings up those conversations if it had been. And even if it's not a black defendant, black victims, or victims of color, you still have those, if this had been a young 17-year-old black man who had done this. And I'm sorry, y'all. I get, this is why I couldn't talk about it then, because my shoulders start moving, and but But I just know for me, it was important I not comment on it. I not think about it because it's all too real for our community.
And it
Yeah.
really, really is. And I think, and he's my guest this afternoon. Jelani Lynch put up a post, I want to say it was last year, and he said he cannot post and type Black Lives Matter. And
Mm.
for him to say it and to type it, the notions behind, the incidents behind, the murders behind, the lynching 2021 version of lynching behind, his having to say that, he said he couldn't. And so to get to some sort of like proactive ways to avoid vicarious trauma, what you
Yeah.
did in there, what identified that you just did was you didn't put yourself in a situation to have to deal, to just keep it at
Yeah,
a basic layman's level.
I had to check out. I really did. I did talk about it later in the evening, just with respect to how we were feeling. But I think because I prepped myself before the verdict came out,
Yep.
it ended up being a healthier conversation than it would have been. Like after that January 6th insurrection foolishness, I was like, for weeks I couldn't talk cognizantly about that, right? And I see Prop said, this comment about we aren't even part of the Constitution. Well, we were just
Three
not
fifths.
humanized.
What
We
was
were
it?
just
Three
not,
fifths?
yeah, we were just not humanized in the Constitution. We were 3/5 of a person and property and, and the whole, amendments that came later, but we were part of it. We just weren't considered. Our feelings, our emotions, our wholeness, our humanness, our value was never considered. And so some would say that's continued today, is that we are just not part of the equation when it comes to what is human and what do we value. And you look at that with respect to, and again, this, I hate that I always do this, like if it had been, but you go back to when there are natural disasters and when folks say we have to get out, we have to support. But you think about Katrina, and folks were being called refugees as they on the top of their roof.
We didn't
Black,
got her started, y'all. We done got her started.
our Black brothers and sisters that were born here, that gave their entire lives, are on top of their roofs crying out for help, signs of help. They're refugees in their own country. And so I think, what Props is saying in terms of, we're not included in the Constitution, I think it's part of a larger conversation about we are not humanized and not in the same vein, breadth, and depth. When our young men and women die, when our young men and women are kidnapped, when our young men and women go off and fight and come back with scars that we can't see, are they protected in the same manner? When our young men and women, or even older adults, have substance use abuse issues, are they treated in the same light? Is it a public health crisis or is it a criminal crisis? And so it's important that we have these conversations. But for me, it's like part of a larger context in
Yep.
terms of where does the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, where is that going to take us in terms of a citywide, a statewide, a national conversation?
Mhm.
Does this mean that, it again highlights the brokenness with our justice system? Lady Justice may be blind, but all the jurors, the judges,
Um,
everybody
uh,
watching are not. But, I mean, that's just what it is. And so one of the things we have to be talking about is, where do we go from here? How do we continue conversations around injustice? How do we continue conversations around racial inequality? How do we continue conversations around this? Because for all intents and purposes, this young man is going to be canonized, okay?
he
And
already
for
he
one sect
already
of the
is.
population. Yes, he already is, but now it's going to reach another level.
Mhm.
See, before it was like he might get off. Now he off, and we know double jeopardy. You can't be tried twice for the same crime. So, okay, so now this is part of our our consciousness from now on. You go to Merriam-Webster's 20 years from now, there'll be a little thing about Kyle Rittenhouse, some term that was created or something. Right? So,
Racism. It'll just have his picture next to it for this iteration.
yeah.
The other thing is, Dr. Brandy, is when you were talking before about humanity, remember Michael Vick? Didn't he get convicted for dogs fighting?
Look,
and the dogs didn't die, I don't believe. Dogs fighting, and this is no, I love dogs. Shout out to my boy Nino Brown down in Atlanta. But it when you said humanity, that crossed my mind because Mike Vick went through everything he went through with dogs, and this boy got up. But no, let's keep it real. He's a child. I think that attributes, even though it was kind of funny to me, and I think some of it was staged. But it was evident in his little crying and all that staged crying. But this boy got off for killing two people, going to anyway. And see,
those stage tears. Listen, that was one of those. Look, that was one of those. Y'all, anybody who works with young kids knows that look that he had on that stand. I'm really upset, but ain't no tears coming down my face. Like, it's one of those. And as soon as you divert that energy, they'll be like back happy again. That was one of those. If I squinch my face tight enough or squeeze my eyes tight enough, maybe the tears will come. And back in the day, I studied a little drama and whatnot, and it was like one of those, like, baby, use some Vaseline, put some Vicks Vapor Rub, put something. I mean, like it was one of those. Your face is red. You doing the build up, you right? But
it ain't
nothing,
real.
Ain't nothing coming, right? So, but that being said. Look,
Jen,
privilege.
She said white privilege tears.
Look, privilege gets folks off a lot of times, and and I speak to this too, just in terms of there are certain injustices I and my family have faced for generations, but I know that I am privileged because I was born here as opposed to other countries where situations are more dire. So there are levels of privilege. But that being said, this was ridiculousness. That whole trial was ridiculousness
from the beginning.
From the beginning,
they can't be called victims. Like what they were, they're dead. Jesus God, Dr. Brandy, we gotta.
So that's what that was, and I'm just gonna real talk here because we family, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody remember the OJ trial back in the day? Now I was younger then, right? I was younger. And I'm not going to say guilt, innocence, nothing, that's for somebody else to decide. But what I do know is that in my little circle, again, as a young one, I think I was in middle school, maybe high school, we were excited, not because we said OJ is innocent or guilty. We were excited because we were like, well, he black. And he got off. We were like, he black. And he got off.
And let's just name, because we would be remiss, especially in the spaces we moved in. A woman's life was lost, and children were impacted.
Absolutely.
But it just that sentiment, Dr. Brandy, is real. Absolutely real. And it wasn't the sentiment of everyone, because I remember working at Harvard Pilgrim, and some of them nurses and physician assistants went in their offices and closed doors and cried because they could not believe.
Yes. And I believe, and I hear that, because again, I'm not talking about the guilt, the innocence part. That part I am not talking about, because lives were lost, right? Lives were lost, and family members lost loved ones. Colleagues lost friends. I am not trivializing that at all. What I am saying is, though, there was a sentiment and an undercurrent in the community where folks were saying, well, okay, so maybe if you have money and you are a person of color, you may, the system may treat you differently. And that's a shame that you have to have qualifiers for a system that is supposed to be applied equally to everyone. So that's why, we're now moving into conversations where we're not talking about equal. Can we make sure everything is equitable? right?
And there's a difference.
And there is a huge difference. And, I don't want to make this into a cultural humility type of, conversation, but it's the difference between you say, okay, everything's equal. We're all starting at the 100-yard line for the 100-yard dash. Like, hey, we're all at the starting blocks, right? So boom, you can go. But equity is when you get at, well, did each runner in every single lane have the same opportunities at their high school? Did each runner in the same lane, did they have parents that took them to these meets? Did each runner in every single lane have the same access to coaches and after school and da-da? Did each runner in every single lane, and you can just go on and on and on and on. And that's the conversation, and difference between when you're talking equality. So we're saying everything is equal versus everything is equitable in terms of distribution, to make sure that when that gun goes off, and I don't want to do any of the hand miming because that can be triggering to some, but when that gun goes off, that everyone has that equal shot and opportunity to cross that finish line. But that being said, Kyle, I want to make it clear and be on record. That was set up from
the beginning. From the beginning. Who said it?
And so for me, Heidi. I need to watch it. It was kind of like one of those moments. If we take it back earlier this year, when we were talking about the Derek Chauvin trial, and folks, when the verdict was coming out, I know in the community we were like, "Is he gonna get off? Like, what's gonna like seriously?" It was like, yes, a life has been lost, but because of how that life was portrayed, and we know some of the injustices that have played out over the last couple of decades, last centuries, it was unclear. But this one, it was known from jump.
That to get it. I mean, it and to bring us, back in, because it is Monday and we don't want to leave folks too heavy.
Yeah.
It is the reality. No, because the reality is real. And I chimed in a few minutes ago and said, we got you started. And so I'm actually enjoying this active side of you and your blacker than black queenness. But the reality is that we are in a system that is not set up for us. If you watch the movie 13, it's just, they now have different ways and more up-to-date ways of still doing the same old crap. And not equality is one thing. They give us a little bit around that. Now we're asking for equity, not asking, we're demanding, we're pushing equity. And that's where all this other other stuff comes in, because they cannot take the browning and blackening and browning of America. And listen, and we can get ready to bring it back.
Look, I get passionate is what I say about certain issues. Folks may look at me and see some pecan tan, but don't ever get it twisted. I am black mixed with black with a side of black. Okay. And I'm proud to be so, and was raised in a household where we elevated, talked about, and uplifted our blackness and celebrated it. And so I want to be very clear about that. But that being said, that case, I'm just putting that one over there.
Let's extract a couple of things from mental health space. One, you did not put yourself in a situation to consume the media at that time because you knew you weren't ready. Two, you kept it real about where we are. And I think that's one important thing as far as mental health, that we need to be real with ourselves about how we're feeling in the moment. Hence why I always ask people, think about your mental health status in the moment right now and share that comment, because we need to be intentional about paying attention to it. The other thing is that there was a cadence of you with action. You know what I mean? And oftentimes some things are so debilitating that you can't have action right away. So protect your space, be real with yourself, and then where and when you can take action. And so that's what we extracted from Mental Health Mondays for today. But I just talked a little bit ago about the black
family and friends, and
I'm gonna listen. We about to transition. So I talked a few minutes ago about blackening and browning of America. Some years ago, there were some not Americans. There were native, is what they're called, to this land, America, that were brown, with different hues and whatnot, and they were here and migrated over centuries, and this was their land. and then Plymouth Rock happened. And so there's a few things, because some people, the woker than woke than woke than woke get on you for about celebrating Thanksgiving. We have to acknowledge the fact that for our Native American brothers and sisters, this is a traumatizing time for them. And then we also have to note, for some of us, one of the good things that come out of this, and some people do it every Sunday, some people do it once a month, quarterly, around holidays. It is a time, and we cannot negate the fact, with all the negative, that there is a time of family that happens, this week. And most of the time, Dr. Brandy, it's good.
I'm sorry.
And then there's sometimes with being with family that just are not so good. And Dr. Brandy, just a little note while I run my mouth a little bit, in case you need to get there's a request to see Coco.
Yeah, I saw that, Jennifer. I'll see maybe towards the end of the broadcast whether I can bring her in. She's definitely looking at me. Looking at me with side eye, because I said her name and she like, somebody asking for my presence. She's such
we need to look when Props comes up here, we need to make sure Nino and Coco meet and do a photo shoot.
Right. But oh goodness. And I just want to big shout out to all the groomers out there, because I know a lot of people have gotten pandemic dogs. And so Coco going to go get her haircut tomorrow. And so I just want to shout out all the groomers, all those who take care of our furry friends.
We need to celebrate them as well, because we need them. That's self-care for the dog.
But yes. And so she can actually look good. But back to the Thanksgiving, right?
Yep.
And I was thinking about this, and I was like, Thanksgiving. This year, I am not flying to visit my folks. Normally, I try to choose one of the two holidays, either Thanksgiving or Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, right? So one of those two, right? So, but that being said, when we talk about Thanksgiving, one of the things I think we're ultimately talking about is relationship and our relationship to others. So y'all, give me 5 minutes and I'm gonna bless you, like my old choir director used to say. she would go, she'd be like this, and then she'd be like, y'all, give me 5 minutes and I'm gonna bless you. But in my head, what I think she was saying was more like, Lord Jesus, the note that just came out, the altos, tenors, and sopranos sound a fool. So give me 5 minutes and maybe I'll teach them and sing it again and they'll get it, because Lord, that note, Jesus. So that's what I heard. But anyway, so give me 5 minutes and I'm gonna bless you. But so I think when we're talking about Thanksgiving, or whatever space you celebrate around this time, because most do have that day off because it's a federal holiday. Yep. And so whatever space you congregate. So I think it really boils down to relationship and our relationship to others. And this reminds me of when I first moved to Boston. I went to a Tyler Perry show. And I think it was at the DCU. And I can't remember, but I just remember going to that show. And my first thought was, oh my God, there are Black people in New England. That was my first thought, because the whole audience, yeah, I was just like, oh my God, there are Black people here. Because I really didn't know, because I was over in, when I first moved to Boston, I was in Austin, Brighton. So I know. So I was like, gosh, there are Black people. The second thing that he said in that play, which has stuck with me to this day, and you can watch it on YouTube. He says, sometimes we put lifelong expectations on seasonal relationships.
Listen.
Okay. And then he went into the refrain of how relationships are like a tree. And I'm sure some of you have heard this in different contexts, but he said, sometimes you have folks in your life that are the roots of your tree. Like, you need those folks. They are part of who you are, your foundation. You aren't right if those folks aren't in your life. That's the root. Then you have the branches, right? But the branches,
Oh, I know where you're going. Come.
like branches, right? They sway with the wind. So they up, they down, depending on what's going on. And the only thing they do is provide shade. Right. So but but branches are there. They are part of the tree. But then with the season, branches sometimes die. And if you get a strong rain, that branch gone.
Yeah.
Right? It's gone.
Come on here.
And then you have your leaves, right?
And what are the leaves? My God.
Like,
Come here.
The leaves are they gone with the season. They fall off, they die.
Blow.
And I'm shady. But no, the leaves just fall off, they die, but the leaves are important because again, we live in New England. Leaves are beautiful. They provide foliage and it's beautiful pictures and colors, but then you let it go a couple more weeks, it's dead, dying, and like it's littering your yard. And so you have to go and meticulously, especially my southern family and friends, you have to go and meticulously rake your yard and clean up those leaves, or you have to get them off your roof.
Do y'all see where she's going with this? She evangelist?
Yes, you have those problems. No, this is all Tyler Perry right here. I'm just paraphrasing. But the thing I would add to Tyler Perry, because I'm a little bit of a science geek, is so you have your tree with respect to your relationships, but as we know with the photosynthesis process, what do trees need in order to be a tree? Right? So they need good soil. You need sunlight and you need precipitation. And so sometimes, yes, we do put lifetime expectations on seasonal relationships. On a leaf. But at the same time, we don't give the proper nutrients to our roots.
To the foundation.
So I'm just, look, with that being said, so with that, relationship and James and I, we've talked many times about the different types of relationships and things like that, and we can have that discussion maybe closer to like Valentine's, get into relationships and whatnot. But truly, when you talk about coming together, it really is a sense of relationship. What is your relationship to those that you are coming together and sharing space, sharing food with? Is it a seasonal type of relationship? Is it a leaf? Do you have family members that are straight up branches, right? And then do you have the roots? And what is the collection sitting around the table? Right? So for me, as I said last week, is that when it comes to the holiday, especially now, I have two things that I do. When I'm traveling back south, two things. Number one is I give myself a day limit. So how long am I going to be home for? How long am I going to be at my mother's house, my father's house, some friends, So how long? What's going to be the time period, right? And at one point, because of some things going on, I was like, yeah, 5 days. 5 days is my max. I'm gonna be at the airport. I'll just be waiting. I'll just be right there. Right. Yep. And then the second thing that now that I consider is whose spaces am I going to either invite myself into or accept the invitation into? And that's important, is because a lot of times you feel, particularly when it comes to family, and again, this goes back to relationship, where, we like, they family over everything. Nah, not family over my mental health, not family over my physical health. When auntie and them talk about they gonna stab each other or something, or not when so and so over here doing God knows what outside. Like, no, I'm good on that. So for me, I consider those two things. And then third, which is very important, if new people around the table, like somebody's bae or something like that, like, who cooked this? Like,
that's the petty part, Dr. Brandy. We got to get it.
But it's James, you can say it's petty, but for me, the holiday is one part seeing folks and second part eating.
I mean, that is true. And then we don't want to try Shaniqua's new thing. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, James, if you're gonna tell me you making some chitterlings, right? And that they the best, they the bomb.com, all this good stuff.
They
and
are.
I have to sit, and I may have to sit in a room with somebody else that, but them chitterlings better be good.
Well, that might be a good segue because you don't eat everybody's chitlins. And grandma, listen, a couple of the church mothers.
Part of relationship. That's part of like James. I'm telling you, we about to evangelize up in here. You can't eat everybody's food. You can't sit at everybody's table.
Listen,
you make your own table, y'all. Sometimes you really have to, and I mentioned this last week, is that yes, we love our families. They are part of our DNA, part of our mitochondrial essence, right? But once you get of a certain age, you have to say, who am I going to choose to continue to operate invite into my space? Like, that is so important. Like, you have to, at the end of the day, you have to at some point prioritize you in small ways. Sometimes
not even in small. You have to do it in big ways because it's just, this is not a sore spot. This is a passionate spot for me because for so long, it took 40 some odd years to get to a point where I'm comfortable and not completely can be 100, not completely guilt-free either of making, choices that promote, my own self-care, so.
Look, I feel guilty. I feel guilty sometimes because I am one of the few members of my family that live up north. And so, with that, sometimes I miss a lot of stuff, in terms of just everyday moments and celebrations. Like the other day, I was talking to my dad and he mentioned that my nephew had scored his first touchdown in a football game. And, I was so proud. I was like, oh my gosh, he's turned it into a little man and, all that. But at the same moment, I was like, gosh, I'm not there. And so when the holidays come up, I feel an obligation because, again, I'm not there during the year for those moments, let me go down, let me be in that space. But at the same time that I'm wrestling with my guilt, I still say, "Ooh, how many days? How many days? Who house? How many days I'm gonna be there? Whose house I'm gonna go to, and whose table am I gonna sit at? Because just because you go to the house don't mean you're sitting at the table.
Listen, you can sit in the chair or on the porch too. Dr. Brandy.
No, not even. You say, can you make me a plate? I'm gonna just swing by
and pick it up. Matter of fact, I ain't even driving. I'm gonna come with a Lyft and an Uber, so there is no chance that I have to pull over and stay a while.
Nah, down there, I always make sure to rent a car.
I'm just being figurative. Dr. Brandy, we really got to get ready to wrap up because we went real long today, and your preacher evangelist voice was on, and folk are getting ready to go to work. But listen, there was so much that we extracted today, and I love the analogy of how you broke down the leaves, the branches, and the foundation, and the root, as the old folks used to call it. And so don't make leaves a foundation. Don't build and keep relationships that are temporal, that leaves can't hold much of nothing, barely the water, because when it rains, they bend over or they get weak to keep the water. And then that puts weight on the branches, and then branches fall either because of too much weight or some may dry out. And then you're neglecting the foundation from not giving it its proper nutrients, like love, like honesty. So, oh my God, you went there today. Folks, we got to wrap up. We kept y'all a little bit longer today. Dr. B, I'm just going to go and do a few announcements. But no. This was good. We just, folks, they Mondays, we wrap it up kind of quick because we got the radio this afternoon. But I knew there was something about bringing you to the mornings that is just different. Oh, you made me do just different space.
Hold on. I'm going to get the alto.
Did you really just change notes? Listen, All right, Dr. B, I'm going to go and finish these church announcements. Today was Mental Health Mondays, but she really broke it down as far as, in all seriousness, don't give too much value. I say this all the time, and we'll wrap up this segment with this. Love, keep that at the foundation of everything. This week, we even got a love written house as a human being. But sometimes there's tough love and love from a distance. And so whether it's through our vicarious trauma and those that cause us the trauma, we still got to have love. And then, sometimes even with family where it may not be tough love, we may have to love from a distance and go pick up that plate, not hug Uncle Johnny, and just keep it moving. And so, Dr. B, I'm tired. And so that's an indicator for me, because today was a good session. So I appreciate you. I probably will talk to you before Thursday, but if I don't, you have a wonderful time of Thanksgiving. Even if it's with virtual family down there, even if it's with Coco.
Hold on. There was a request.
Let's go get Coco. Dr. Brandy's going to go get Coco real quick.
There was a request.
Look at Coco.
Say hey.
Hi, Coco.
Hey.
Coco's
y'all, she need a groomer. She need a groomer. Jesus. I know.
Coco is having a bad hair day.
She looking like some of us, 3-6 months into the pandemic. Lord, myself included. But tomorrow she gonna be beautiful.
She's gonna have a testimony for Testimony Tuesday. Dr. Brandy, today was lit. We done both sat up on here and choked a couple of times. Listen, I got to get folks off of here so they can get ready to get back to work or whatever they're doing. I'm going to do a couple of announcements, but Dr. B, thank you. And I'll follow up later on this afternoon.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Whatever you celebrate, whatever you do, have a wonderful week, and make sure to always create space for you. Bye, everyone. I'll see you after the holiday.
Thanks, Dr. Brandy. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. So, folks, we just want to go ahead and just remind folks about a couple of things. That's what I get for being smart. We're going to do a check in the comments. Humble and bless. My Molly is a Yorkie. Oh, my God. Y'all are really going in. And so just a couple of things, especially in reference to what's coming up this week. We want to let you know through the partnership that we've developed with the Massachusetts General Hospital Office of Equity and Community Health, we will have our third, sort of second, but first was introductory. We had our session last week about getting a couple of weeks ago about getting back to care. And tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., world renowned Fatima Cody Stanford. And if you look real well, she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 credentials behind her name. And we're going to talk healthy living tomorrow at 9 a.m. We are doing a pre-record with her because she was on her way to Dubai, and not able to join us live. And then we have registered dietitian Abir Bader, who's going to come after the presentation and answer questions along with Dr. Alabre, who is the medical director for this partnership. So that's taking place tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. But listen, before tomorrow at 9 a.m., listen to your Midday Java on Spark FM Online today at 1 p.m. We are discussing Black mental health. Make sure that you are in the room this afternoon at 1 p.m. www.sparkfm online. And let me just back up a little bit, or actually speed up a little bit. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., we have the opportunity, and this was the wrong flyer, Jesus. We have the opportunity to talk with Nia Grace, who's coming in the room to talk about her testimony. She used to be a waitress at Daryl's Bar and Kitchen, and now she is the owner and also the owner of the place where we're having our first Java Cafe taking place this Saturday at 11 a.m. Registration is dropping this afternoon. I'm getting an idea about capacity this afternoon as well. And so we are opening registration for those to register so we can be COVID safe. And so there's a lot of things going on in the Java Cafe. We're percolating. And also, we want to let you know, and I don't know why this flyer didn't do what it was supposed to do, but we'll figure that out later. I'm a little aggravated. We are offering an opportunity to small businesses. If you are a small business and you would like to advertise for a very, very cheap rate. We are offering you some opportunities here. We'll work with every budget and we can customize a package for you. If you are a small business, we are doing a special this week. You will have to pay by Friday and have your items media ready. But if you want a full screen ad with a 115-second liner, it's $25 per show. If you want a full screen video ad with 15 seconds, it's $50 per show. A full screen ad for 30 seconds, $75 per show, and a full screen video, 45 seconds to a minute, $100 per show. And so please let me know if you are interested in that. I'll fix up some of the other things later. We're getting off of here. We will see you guys tomorrow, actually this afternoon at 1 p.m. Spark FM online. And then we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with your Healthy Java. And then we will see you, let me get this flyer here. We will see you at 10 a.m. with Nia Grace. And so a lot going on tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in today. And we'll see you this afternoon at 1 p.m. Spark FM online. Have a wonderful, hey, my sister Jenny is in the room. See you, Jenny. It's good to see you, rather. I'm tossed between see you later and good morning. But Jenny, good to see you in the room, rather. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And we will see you this afternoon at 1 p.m. Peace.